why not react to some music? So let's see if mm, mm, mm. So this is the punk rock MBA. This dude is mega legit. Like this dude is fucking like the fucking like source when it comes to like I am a fanboy of new metal, so don't bully me too much. But I this dude actually like makes some beautiful stuff that talks about like rock culture, music culture, like basically like emo culture as well. So welcome for the two people that still believes in fucking being sad, and that being sad is great. Is poetic. But yeah. It talks about like bands, it talks about stuff. So let's watch like some stuff about Limp Bizkit. Like we've been talking about like fucking like vintage anime. Like why not fucking talk about Limp Bizkit? So yeah. So Limp Bizkit, what the fuck it is? If you don't know what the fuck Limp Bizkit is, it's like basically like a couple songs. There is like some more that are like fucking awesome. Mainly like they've done like some like I'll recommend like they've done like take a look like break stuff, rolling, but like there is like actually like a lot of songs like that are quite fucking like beautiful if you fucking dig a little more in their art. They're not all cringe and like all like scene type of stuff. So yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Finn McKenty. This is the Punk Rock MBA. And if you told me back in 1999 that Limp Bizkit would be one of the most important bands in all of rock and metal, I would have looked at you like you had three heads. Because back then, there was no band that was more hated by the music media than Limp Bizkit. But now, it's a different story. Nu metal was the absolute peak of metal in terms of its mainstream appeal. And
It's insane how like new metal actually stayed within like the same kind of mood. Like people just like back in the day, people love and hate new metal as much as they did back in the day. Usually like let's say like some like let's say death metal like gets some hate and then it gets some love, and people are like maybe we should have not judged these people, right? Because they just like do music, right? They're just a bunch of artists. But new metal remained within like a state where like it's as hated as it was, it's as fucking like fucking loved as it was. It is as emblematic as it was. But like it's really strange that like only new metal, just maybe because we're like emos. Well, new metal is basically emo, all the scene kid like is like the scene stuff, the fucking like emo stuff, and yeah, scene emo, and what else, and goth stuff, like some of like kind of like yeah.
And Limp Bizkit were and are the kings of the genre, with over 40 million albums sold. And to this day, that image of Fred Durst with his backwards red hat takes you right back to watching Nookie on TRL with some
Yeah, fucking MTV and fucking like just all these TV shows were so fucking off, but like they really created like a connection with like the new artists and stuff. Where like it's not like this person that you cannot like fucking talk to anymore, you know? Like at least like some of them, and then the creation of like who would have thought like maybe like rap during like when you do like rock music, what the fuck, and people lost their fucking mind about this, and people got hated for liking it.
bagel bites and a Mountain Dew after school. At this point, they're icons. And they've achieved all of that despite the fact that they've never really gotten an ounce of credit from critics or the media, being labeled as like white trash or frat boy music, or even indirectly blamed for the loss of life.
You have a crowd who are excited, inebriated, and you give them a band to help them release that energy. What do you think's gonna happen?
So how did
Yeah, I mean, like the fucking like, yeah, like this will always happen. Like no matter what the movement is, like if there is like someone new popular and something happens, it's your fault.
they do it? How did Limp Bizkit go from being this little band in Jacksonville, Florida, to one of the most hated bands in rock, to now being, well, icons? Those are the questions that I will answer in this video. And also, I want to thank Capulet Fest for sponsoring this video. It goes down the weekend of July 1st and 2nd at Thompson Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. They've got over 30 bands booked, including some very heavy hitters like All That Remains, Norma Jean, Memphis May Fire, Anne Boleyn, Emery, Skylit Drive, and Woe Is Me, among many, many others. Personally, I really like Picturesque, who are playing on Sunday, and several of those bands will also be doing meet and greets. The whole thing is all ages, there's going to be food trucks, there's vendors, and a fireworks spectacular on both nights. It's 2 stages, it's 2 days of rock with over 30 national bands. Basically, it's the ultimate rock festival for New England. And if you want to check it out, the best deal is the Capulet Royal Pass. That gets you everything. You get 1 weekend ticket, you get meet and greet for both days, weekend VIP parking, early entry, air-conditioned bathrooms, and VIP merch. And best of all, if you use the coupon code PRMBA, you can save 10% on a single day and 15% on a 2-day pass or the Capulet Royal Pass. So check it out at the link in the description of this video, or go to CapuletFest.com, and please follow them on Facebook and Instagram at CapuletENT.
Partner.
I was like, thank you for like leaving like some follows to do, because like the event is already over, even like if you're watching the video. So,
Keep
yeah.
on rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
I will see if like my fucking channel will
But
get
to
fucking
answer
like
all those questions,
fucking like nuclear striked with like the MCA if I listen to if I fucking like have this on my fucking like React channel.
I need to start at the beginning. The idea for Limp Bizkit started out way back in the early 90s, when Fred Durst's life was kind of falling apart. He had just gotten discharged from the Navy, he broke up with his daughter's mom, and was working for his dad's landscaping company. And he had the idea of starting a band that combined metal and rap, which back then was a really fresh idea. So he went around the Jacksonville scene and recruited all the best people from different backgrounds. They started out playing local shows and quickly started drawing crowds based on their stage presence and also Fred's incredible sense for marketing.
So this is something that actually like can happen in America, and if you actually like follow my see my fucking socials, you can see that like there's like a guitar like right here. This cannot happen in Europe, and fuck you, fuck you, because like I think that like this is not something like you cannot draw crowds and like do something like it's even like more difficult here, but like now yeah, fucking like good luck to fucking like do this in Europe. Some people do, but there's this fucking like, hey bro, like my life is fucking over, let's make a band and it fucking works and it fucking functions and it becomes like successful. Fuck you Americans, you have a privilege like from like other small artists that like we don't have. Like now we're with internet, it's actually like okay, but still like I cannot fucking just like show up and tell myself I'll fucking go to California and I'll fucking start a band and make the fucking thing work. Where the fuck do I go? Yeah, let me fucking like I'll go to fucking like I'll go to what the fuck is the capital of the United Kingdom? What the bro? What? How the fuck did I forgot that? Like let me just go to fucking London and like I'll start a fucking band and like I'll show them I'll fucking like show these people like what the fuck it's all about, you know? Like let me just go like to Paris and like start a fucking band and I'll show them like I'll go for like even like I don't know capital of Denmark. uh, Capital of them. Let me just like show. Let me just go to fucking Copenhagen and fucking like show them what the fuck like music is all about. You know, like, and then and then like the American is just like, yeah, like I went up to fucking California, bro, like New York, bro, and I fucking show them what the fuck music is all about. You know. I fucking show them like we can't do that. Fuck your like American privilege, dude. Like some people just want to fucking like do rock shows, dude.
Danny Wimmer, who is now the founder of these huge rock festivals like Aftershock and Louder Than Life, but also owned a venue in Jacksonville and hosted many of the early Limp Bizkit shows, said they had the biggest draw for a local band. They went from playing to like 10 people to 800 within months. Fred was just the genius marketing guy. It was incredible. He's so in touch with the kids. And one example of that is the band's name, which is, well, to put it bluntly, terrible. Although, to be fair, it's not as bad as some of the other names that they considered for the band, like Gimp Disco, Bitch Piglet, and even Blood Fart. But as Fred later explained, that was
Bitch
all
Piglet.
deliberate. The entire point of the name was just to get attention. The name is there to turn people's heads away. A lot of people pick up the disc and go, Limp Bizkit, oh, they must suck. Those are the people that we don't even want listening to our music. And to go along with Fred's marketing brain, there was Wes Borland's creative brain. Wes originally started out as a visual artist who even went to school for sculpture with the goal of doing special effects in movies. And he channeled that into all kinds of ridiculous things for the band, like wearing a bunny suit on stage and all his other outfits over the years, that immediately made them stand out from all the other local bands. And the point I want to make here is that from day one, the band knew that making music was not enough. If you want your music to actually be heard, well, you need to do something to get attention. And they knew that for better or worse, sometimes being hated is just as good as being loved.
The Reckless Crew was a breakdancing group that Fred formed.
He just loved to battle other people to show him that he was better.
But what I'm always especially interested in is that one moment in any band's career when they go from nothing to something. Because that is the one domino that when it gets knocked down, makes all the other dominoes fall down. And for Limp Bizkit, that moment happened in 1995 when Korn came through Jacksonville, was sick of it all, and Fred talked Korn into coming by his tattoo shop after the show. I'd only been tattooing for like a couple weeks, and I lied to them and told them I'd been tattooing for a long time. We were drunk, they were drunk, they fell for it, and it got them back to the house. I drew up this thing that said Korn, and it kind of looked like horn, but Fieldy was so wasted that he was like, yeah man, let's do it. And that was the beginning of their friendship. Korn took an unsigned Limp Bizkit on 2 tours, and that was it. They had finally made it out of Jacksonville. And
I hear like a lot of like so basically like the Jacksonville is like an important city for like rock, but like this type of rock, whatever. But like
on the back of that momentum, they signed with Flip Records and went into the studio with Ross Robinson and came out with their first album, $3 Bill Y'all, completed, as well as a brand new distribution deal with Interscope Records. But the album didn't really do much when it came out, and it looked like they might be yet another one of these bands with some local hype that was never able to turn that into any sort of national attention. And again, what I'm always interested in are these sort of specific moves by a band that changes their career. And for Limp Bizkit, the next one of these was a controversial marketing move by their label.
Hey man, wake up and smell the concrete. Strange to see you change like the LB.
They were having very little success getting their first single, Counterfeit, on the radio. So the label decided, why don't we just...
Yeah, there's a lot of like bands that like it's just like it's either the way you fucking look like, the way you fucking feel like, or the way you fucking sound like. But if you don't have like either, like there is always like something that is like this got me hooked, this got me like addicted, you know. And it's like I don't know, like for them it's like at this point like. In this era, it was in this epoch, it was still like people were like quite fucking innocent when it comes to like marketing and like music and like it's not fucking YouTube anymore. Like it's not like it wasn't like fucking YouTube where like you can find like fucking fucked up stuff. Just like some random dude like showing up on the stream and be like, let me fucking like allow me to fucking like. Allow you to fucking listen to me for like 5 minutes and fuck your life up because you never saw someone as fucked up as me and you didn't even know what the that like I was about to fucking do my magic trick, my special trick, you know.
Pay for airtime. Interscope paid an Oregon radio station $5,000 to play that song a minimum of 50 times over 5 weeks, with a disclaimer before the song that this was a paid placement. And somehow or another, word
Like some people are like such like different distinctive like perspective of like just like verified and stuff like just get the fucking see that and like back in the day it was like that's why like bands like this was like doing fucking like it's a trend of like TikToks and stuff like that. It's just a fucking like like multi-fucking like international type of stuff right away the fucking goes on TV and it's just like fucking like super like they do business like go fucked up and say something and it's like now I'm on TV what the fuck are you doing and like you know this is like it's just it can happen but like nothing this guy
word got out that they had done this, and it got a ton of negative coverage in the media. To a lot of people, it kind of felt like this was pay for play, and they didn't like that. But ironically, all this just gave Limp Bizkit what they wanted all along, which was more exposure. And it was yet another sign that for Limp Bizkit, maybe the best thing was actually to be the band that everybody loves to hate. And all the work that they'd put in was about to pay off with their first real hit. Their cover of the 80s classic Faith by George Michael, which was the third and final single off of $3 Bill, y'all.
Showing you that door, run, gotta have faith.
By pure coincidence, George Michael had recently gotten arrested for allegedly showing his junk to a cop in a public bathroom, so his name was in the headlines, and that helped make this cover even bigger. It was their first song to really get picked up by radio and MTV, and with that, they had finally arrived as a breakout band. And once again, the common thread was pissing people off. As Wes Borland said, what we've heard from George Michael's people is that he hates it and hates us for doing it. He apparently really despises it. Their next big move was joining Ozfest 98, where again they leaned into the hate by coming out on stage from a giant toilet. As Fred Durst described it, everyone was saying Limp Bizkit is shit, so we said, okay, we'll be shit. We'll make a gigantic toilet and come out of it like 5 turds. We got their attention. They were watching the show and they were buying the records. You gotta do that sometimes, man. And if you haven't noticed the pattern yet, it's very simple. The more people hated Limp Bizkit, the bigger they got. As a Rolling Stone piece from around this time put it, this here is rock's redheaded stepchild, the rude, crude combo that discerning listeners love to hate. The lightning rod for much of the hostility is Fred Durst, 66 inches of tightly wound cracker with a scrappy goatee, steely blue eyes, and a free-floating belligerence. And counterbalancing all of that was Wes Borland, the artsy, kind of creative side of the band, who even the biggest Limp Bizkit haters seem to recognize as a really legitimately talented musician who also had much less of an antagonistic attitude, as well as DJ Lethal, formerly of House of Pain, who again pretty much everybody recognized as a really talented, chill guy, and whose DJing added a genuinely innovative creative element to the band. And with Faith blowing up, they went out on the Family Values tour with Korn, Ice Cube, Rammstein, and Orgy, a tour that was one of the most defining moments in nu metal, before getting to work
at this point, there's just like, I can fucking tell that like if it's about that like you can push so hard and like it's systems and stuff like that. So I said, what is just like scenes and stuff. Like people take that like a fucking bad artist, bad musician, bad singer. That is actually like stable and just working. As exceptional as a musician, artist that is like unstable and just like it's basically like a basic 9 to 5 like wooden job that much logic when it comes to like being an artist. So yeah.
On their second album, Significant Other. And their mission with this album was really to get out of Korn's shadow. As Wes Borland said, too many people started calling us Baby Korn. Korn showed us the ropes of touring, but I don't think we've taken anything musically from them. Anyway, it's time to leave the mother's nest, which they definitely did with this album. On the back of singles like Nookie, Rearranged, and Break Stuff, the album hit #1 on Billboard and catapulted Limp Bizkit to stardom. They were all over MTV and the media, and by 2000, they were every bit as big of a band as Korn. And once again, controversy was the vehicle that made Limp Bizkit bigger and bigger and bigger. First, there was their beef with Slipknot after Fred apparently said that Slipknot fans were the fat, ugly kids.
Limp Bizkit, somebody in Limp Bizkit had the audacity to say to one of our good friends, who's a very reliable source, that Slipknot fans are nothing but a bunch of fat, ugly kids.
There was also Fred Durst's rumored relationship with Britney Spears. Apparently, they had spent some time in the studio together. Fred said that there was some sort of relationship beyond just work. Britney said there wasn't, and regardless of what actually did or didn't happen, the point is that it kept both of their names in the tabloid headlines. And what could be better marketing for a band than potentially smashing the hottest pop singer on the planet?
Whoever thought you'd be banging Britney Spears?
You had the world's biggest virgin.
We definitely weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. Nobody ever
You're not
said
saying that.
Right. You banged her, and you had feelings for her. It could have developed into something, but she had to like distance herself.
I'll tell you right now.
Go ahead.
Girl is a liar.
They also got dissed by Eminem in his song Girls because they got caught up in his beef with Everlast. And And remember, DJ Lethal was in House of Pain with Everlast.
The reason that I dissed him is because when all the beef with Everlast was going on, right, they wanted to jump in the middle of it. They wanted to jump in it with me and take my side, right? Fred Durst is like, yeah, man, write me some shit, bro. I'll say that shit. And then DJ Lethal, man, I hate Everlast, man. He's a... So we set up the studio time. The day I get to the studio, Fred pages us, yo, I got a toothache, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it today. And DJ Lethal says he doesn't know how he feels about doing the song because he's still cool with Everlast. So I'm thinking, all right, if he's still cool with Everlast, then why was he telling me he hates him?
And even though it was a diss, still it's the same dynamic. Eminem was at the time the hottest up-and-coming rapper on the planet, and to even be dissed by him was great marketing for Limp Bizkit. And another controversy that kind of fueled the narrative that Fred Durst is this aggro frat boy douche is the Korn song All in the Family, where Fred and Jonathan went back and forth playfully dissing each other, including, unfortunately, calling each other the F slur several times. This was obviously not well received by a lot of people, but again, it got their name in the headlines of everything from Rolling Stone to the LA Times. But all of that paled in comparison to what I think of as the defining moment in Limp Bizkit's career, which was Woodstock 99. As we've probably all seen, their set on the second day of the festival was pure chaos. That iconic shot of people crowd surfing during their set on a piece of plywood really sums it up.
I actually did crowd surfing during I saw some other people not in a fucking plank, but like just like being like a fucking just like pushed away by people until the end of the fucking thing. So basically when you do this, so if people are not playing on a fucking plank and just like laying on people, they just push you to the fucking like end of the fucking like concert. So I got to fucking do this, and this is actually fucking easy. People hate you all the way, and they touch you all the way. You scared to lose your phone, but like this is fucking like concert is just fun as fuck. Like you get to fucking do that. I don't even know how the fuck you get to do concert surfing. It's always like it's always like how you to let fucking do it, but people do it anyway. it's so funny. Like, you just feel like fucking like people, and it's just like fly, you know. So it's actually like it's so fucking fun. You don't feel like you enjoy the most for some reason, even though like you're just so sexually sweet, and sexually sweet, like so you go from there, right? You're right from there to there, to you go always there, like you talk back like fucking like a cloud, you know. So yeah. So it's like, if you put the fucking says fuck you do it, like this is mega worth it.
Iconic shot of people crowd surfing during their set on a piece of plywood really sums it up. And the rest of the festival was dangerously close to Mad Max territory as well, with food and water shortages, open sewage flowing everywhere, and worst of all, several reported accounts of assaults. And Limp Bizkit was implicitly, and maybe sometimes even explicitly, blamed for a lot of that by promoters and the media.
You have a crowd who are excited, inebriated, and you give them a band to help them release that energy. What do you think's gonna happen?
Which personally, I think
I think it's so good like catching super far out. I think people go concert like no alcohol, then fucking like that. A lot of people fucking like get inebriated. Shut the fuck
I think
up.
is totally unfair. It's the promoter's job to hire security, provide bathrooms and all that, not the band. Fred Durst's job is to put on a show, which is exactly what he did. Either way, the fact of the matter is that Woodstock 99 was an absolutely massive moment in pop culture that got tons and tons of mainstream media coverage, and Limp Bizkit was at the center of all of that. And I think Fred probably was genuinely upset by that coverage, because, I mean, who wouldn't be upset about being accused of all those things? But once again, they used it as marketing. The whole video for their song Rearranged is about them being on trial for...
And so it's basically like when this happens, like any like fucking this out and like fucking hating on when this happens for like let's say like legitimate reasons, like because like bad reasons to feel bad about things who already want to fucking immerse yourself with hate, you know, like it's actually quite fucking like it's something to do, like self-fucking you, and it's just like
for these alleged crimes at some unspecified concert that clearly is Woodstock 99. And I'm not going to say that the band did all these things as some sort of like cynical marketing campaign, but I do think that Fred in particular knew exactly what he was doing. As he put it in a Rolling Stone interview from 1999, it's another reason to not like this obnoxious band. This guy who starts riots at shows, stage dives, pulls chicks on stage, tells promoters to kiss his ass. You gotta hate this guy. Well, I hope it turns into the guy you love to hate. Like Danny Wimmer said about them back when they were just a local band, I think Fred Durst has always had an incredible natural sense of marketing and how to create pop culture moments around the band. For example, my personal favorite, his duet with Christina Aguilera.
Can anybody see that we gotta get it out? Get it out! We gotta get it out! Get it out! We gotta get it out! Get it out!
And again, this was not an accident. This is just how Fred's...
Yeah, this is also like something that like it's just like this is the genius is stuff like that complicated, it's just something fucking like cool, like to lose yourself to the genius to actually how life would like it's just like fucking like honestly, you know, like the balancing
its mind works. As he said to Rolling Stone, this kind of shit I get off on. I'm at parties with Jack Nicholson, Dana Carvey. I'm at places where they hang out. I'm on all the A-lists. And just to be clear, I don't mean any of this as criticism. I think Fred Durst is genuinely brilliant at what he does, which is getting attention. And the fact that Limp Bizkit is...
The music is good too, like, I think that like, it forgets to fucking talk about how great some of the music, I still listen to fucking some of it. Like Limp Bizkit has like a lot of like things to fucking like, and if you actually want to take the time to fucking listen, it's actually like quite fucking like beautiful, and it's just like vulgar, like smoking jokes.
Still headlining festivals, and anytime they do anything, it's on all the news sites, is proof of that. Because what this reveals is something that I've talked about many times before, but I'm going to keep talking about, which is that this isn't really the music business, it's the entertainment business. Just showing up and playing your guitar is not enough. I know that a lot of musicians don't like to hear that, but it's just reality.
And this is true. This is like where like some people, what I was like you need to have like something special. Like you need to have like some entertainment, it's a fucking you're something, you know. Like at least, but you have like a lot of like choices when it comes to that. You have like a lot of chances to fucking find it, you know.
And I think that is a huge part of why rock now is less popular than it was in the 2000s, when you had people like Fred Durst, Corey Taylor, and Pete Wentz, who understood how to play that game and were constantly in the headlines. Whereas these days, it feels like people in rock bands are almost ashamed of standing out. Like being some sort of larger-than-life character that people pay attention to is a bad thing. Like aside from being some sort of larger-than-life that people pay attention to is a bad thing. Like aside from a few people like MGK and Ronnie Radke, who you can say what you want about their music, but both of them are obviously huge stars, putting up the numbers to prove it. Other than them, it seems like everybody just wants to go on stage in jeans and a t-shirt, like some guy that just walked in off the street, and never say anything controversial. And with that kind of attitude, can we be surprised that rock has fallen off in popularity? So regardless of what you think of Limp Bizkit's music or Fred Durst as a person, personally, what I think the rock world needs right now is very simple. We need another Fred Durst and more Limp Bizkits. All right, my friends, that does...
And this is true, like, but like, we are like MGK, for example, against MGK and another artist, like, this is true, like, especially when it's something like something special.
Does it for this video. As always, let me know what you think in the comments, and I would like to thank everyone who supports on Patreon, especially those of you who support at the True Cult level or above. Patrons get all my podcasts and videos early, there are members only channels on my Discord that I'm super active in, I do giveaways, and there's even a way to have me review your music. So if any of that sounds cool, hit the link in the description of this video, and with that, I'm going to sign off for now, but I will see you next time.